have any inside information.
The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Thursday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, in for Blue, 1010XL 92.5 FM with JJ LaSelva. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Happy Trevor Lawrence Day to all who celebrate, as it is officially official now. The contract is signed. Trevor Lawrence met the media at the Miller Electric Center earlier today. We will play some of his thoughts. One thing that Trevor kept saying over and over and over really stood out to me. I think stood out to most people that have watched it. So we'll certainly spend some time on the Trevor Lawrence contract signing earlier today. We will play some of his thoughts coming up in just a bit. Speaking of Trevor Lawrence, my buddy Ben Troop, former All-American tight end at the University of Florida. He is also host of the 84 Reasons podcast, which talks to a lot of Gator alumni and current Gator athletes. Ben being from the state of Georgia, Trevor Lawrence being obviously from the state of Georgia. I reached out to Ben, got him on the program, and we're going to talk about Trevor Lawrence coming up tonight. We're going to talk about the AFC South. Keep in mind, Ben Troop, after his time in Gainesville, was a second-round draft pick of the Tennessee Titans. And who's the general manager for the Tennessee Titans right now? That would be one Rand Carthon, Ben Troop's former teammate at the University of Florida. So we're going to talk a lot about the AFC South with Ben Troop. I'll certainly throw some Gator stuff at him as well. But former All-American tight end Ben Troop joins me in less than 15 minutes or so. Also, Bill Bender of the Sporting News at the top of the 7 o'clock hour, as we've done a lot of college football this week with good reason. We didn't really talk a lot of college football in the last few weeks. We are now just about 2 months away from the start of the season. We are inside of a month until media days for the Southeastern Conference out in Dallas. So Bill Bender of the Sporting News. We'll talk Florida, Georgia, Miami, Florida State, and more. That comes up at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. But as always, we're glad you're with us here on Hacker After Dark. Every night here on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And JJ LaSelva, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right, Trevor Lawrence met the media earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center. And he had a lot of things to say. Very talkative, wouldn't you be, after $200 million in guaranteed money, a contract that could be worth up to $275 million when all is said and done. And I liked some of the things Trevor said. In fact, I really liked one of the things he said, quite frankly, earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center. Before we play you those comments, here was my overall takeaway from what Trevor had to say. He brought up the word championship a bunch today. He said that's the goal, to win a championship. Bring a championship to Duval. Bring a championship to Jacksonville. Bring a championship to this fan base. Over and over and over, the word championship came out of Trevor Lawrence's mouth. That's the goal, right? I mean, that's where we are. One of the most established quarterbacks in the league now with that contract, a quarterback that has experienced some success already. 3 years in, the goal moving forward is a championship, is a Super Bowl title here in Jacksonville. A lot of pressure comes with that goal, no question about it. Essentially, you're competing with a future Hall of Famer in Patrick Mahomes inside your own conference. Terrific players like Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, just to name a few, another future Hall of Famer and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we know how loaded the AFC is for the next year or two, and it'll stay that way for the foreseeable future. But no matter what happens from here on out, The goal for this team is not to win the division anymore. That was the goal. It no longer is. The goal for this team is not to make a playoff run. That was the goal. It no longer is. Make no mistake about it. The goal for this team is to hoist the Lombardi Trophy, to bring this fan base, a fan base that is one of the most passionate, loyal fan bases in the NFL, based on the absolute nonsense you guys had to put up with for the better part of the last 15 years. The goal is to bring you, the city, and the organization a championship. And I appreciate the fact that Trevor Lawrence earlier today, after that contract signing, acknowledged that, because he's exactly right. Goals have changed here in Jacksonville from what they were even a season ago. And there is no doubt, moving forward, the ultimate goal is that world championship. Trevor Lawrence earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center was asked what the contract means to him, and does he love the fact that it keeps him in Jacksonville for the long haul?
Yeah, I think obviously financially it's amazing and really sets us up for the future and for the rest of our lives. So that's a huge blessing. Obviously that's a big deal. But I think even more than that is the stability of, like you said, being here for the long term. I mean, however many years it ends up being, I guess could be 7, could be however many it ends up being, is still, that's a long time. And to be able to say we're going to be here and have confidence and know that, that means a lot to us, and we love it here. It's become home. Our families love it. Families love visiting here, and we've really settled in. This is home for us. So we wanted to be here long term. Obviously, it's a place we love to live in, and we know that because we've had some good and some bad times as far as football goes. So it's we've kind of experienced both, and we love being here either way. And obviously the way the organization's going and the direction that we're heading on the football side, that makes it obviously a no-brainer for us. Is we're heading in the right direction, and I want to be the quarterback here. I want to bring a championship to Jacksonville. That's my goal, and I really know that we can accomplish that. So I'm excited for that, and it just pairs up to where we happen to love living here too. So
there's that term, championship. I want to bring a championship to Jacksonville. And how many times in the last 15 years have we heard a guy of Trevor Lawrence's status say, I want to be here in Jacksonville. I want to be the quarterback here in Jacksonville. Boy, times have absolutely changed in a very, very quick period. That was wonderful to hear today, and it's a good thing that he wants to do that because he is going to be the quarterback here for at least the next 7 years. Keep in mind the way the contract is structured, the new part of the contract really doesn't go into effect for another 2 years. So 2 more years on the rookie deal. Obviously, he'll see some upfront money from the new deal, but 2 more years on the rookie deal and then 5 years on the new contract. Trevor, I believe, is under contract now through 2030, if I'm doing the math right. 24, 25, 26, 2030. So he's going to be here for a long period of time. Now, he's 24. He'll be 25 this football season. Does this contract state to his teammates, to the organization, and to the fan base that he is now the unquestioned leader of this football team?
I think I've earned that respect over time here, anyways. But not really. I think that I look at myself as that anyways, as a franchise quarterback, and that's how I've tried to carry myself the last few years. And I'm a firm believer in you have to earn respect, and you have to prove it on the field in this sport. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of guys. I mean, you can respect people, but you're only going to listen to someone so much if they're not holding up their end of the deal on the field. So I understand that those two things go hand in hand, is earning the respect and having the work ethic to back it up, and then producing. So those are the two things that I want to do more consistently, but I feel like I have done, and I have proven myself to my teammates and proven the leader that I am. So I have a lot of confidence in that, and I know my teammates respect me, and we have a lot of leaders on the team, and it's obviously being the quarterback is a big one, and you're looked at as the leader, but we have other guys too that whether it's on the defensive side of the ball or whatever, that have to carry their weight, and we have a great leadership group actually that's kind of been talking a lot this offseason, and we know kind of the next step we need to take to get us to where we want to go.
I love hearing that. And think about the great teams, right? It's not just one guy. Kansas City, it's Mahomes and Kelsey, right? No question. Mahomes and Kelsey are the two leaders of that team. Go back to the days of the Indianapolis Colts. It was Manning and Harrison, or then Manning and Reggie Wayne. I mean, or Manning and Dwight Freeney even. Indianapolis had a bunch of leaders. Here in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence is certainly the unquestioned leader, but just underneath him is Josh Allen. Josh Allen's the captain of that defense. He's the face of the defense. Trevor is certainly the face of the offense, and I think it's great that in a span of 8 weeks, you lock Josh Allen up for 5 years. You now get Trevor Lawrence locked up for the long haul as well. Final thought from Trevor's thoughts earlier today. Trayvon Walker made some news at a camp he held in Georgia over the weekend in talking about the contract extensions for Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence as being a powerful motivating factor for him. Young guys on this team see that when you put in the work and you show it on the field, obviously good things can happen to you. That hasn't always been the case here in Jacksonville. It certainly is now with Josh Allen and with Trevor Lawrence getting those extensions. But what does Trevor think about his teammates saying they want to work hard because they see the rewards that can happen based on what happened with Trevor and Josh Allen this offseason?
Means a lot. I think it's like I was just saying, it proves that I guess the way I look at things and the way I try to handle my business works, and that it shows to my teammates, and that's something that's important to me, more so than obviously the contract or anything, is just earning the respect of the people that you work with, and whether it's coaches or players, that's a huge piece of this is having that respect. And it shows that doing something right. Obviously, I'm not perfect. You got to always get better, and I know I can do things better on the field and be more consistent. But to show that I'm handling myself the right way off the field, and that I have made an impact on some of my teammates, does mean a lot to me.
The thoughts of Jacksonville Jaguar quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Today he puts pen to paper and signs on the dotted line that 5-year extension, $275 million. More on the Jaguars, more on the AFC South coming up in just a moment. Former Gator All-American tight end Ben Troop joins me in less than 10 minutes. A couple of pieces of business from last night and earlier today. We mentioned last night Florida State's baseball season came to an end. Their loss to Tennessee. Well, the Florida Gators season also came to an end yesterday. I guess it was fitting that Florida and Florida State, two teams that, quite frankly, surprised a lot of people in making it to Omaha, making it to the Final Four of the college baseball season, both got eliminated within hours of each other. Gator run was incredible. Jack Caglione and Brandon Neely have played their final games in Gator uniforms, but what a run for the Seminoles, what a run for the Gators. Unfortunately, it comes up just short for both Tennessee and Texas A&M. The SEC is guaranteed another national champion. That series will start, I believe, Friday or Saturday, the best of 3, and the first 1 to 2 will be the college baseball national champion. And in the NBA, congratulations to J.J. Redick. J.J. Redick, former product of Duke, was a first-round pick of my beloved Orlando Magic, had a long NBA career, a pretty successful NBA career, and I thought was very good on TV. Very good on TV. Well, he's not going to get a chance to expand his role at ESPN because he is now the brand new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. He is 189 days older than LeBron James. LeBron and J.J. Redick have been hosting a podcast together, and now J.J. is going to be LeBron's head coach. Very interesting. J.J., quick thought from you on the other J.J. Your thoughts on Redick getting the job in L.A.?
I like it. It's something new. I guess it is expected because we've been hearing about it for 2 months, but before that, it would have been unexpected. And I love J.J. Redick. Always have. He is a great basketball mind, like you said. If you ever watch like a podcast or his little show with LeBron, you'll be taken aback by how much this guy knows about the game. So I'm excited. I obviously he got hired because he's friends with LeBron, but so what? I mean, there's so many crappy coaches in the league. He can't be worse than some of these guys. I think for him, it's a big risk because if he fails miserably, then he might never get a job again. You know, it might be a Steve Nash where his first job, he's thrown in it with, KD and Kyrie and Harden. And if you don't win, then it's a disappointment and you're looked at as a failure and you might not get another job.
Quickly, the thing is, and this happens in the NBA much more often than any other sport. In fact, I'm not sure if it's ever happened in another sport. Guys just come right off of TV into head coaching jobs or front office jobs, whether it's Steve Kerr, Mark Jackson. You mentioned Steve Nash, J.J. Redick. We saw Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson back in the day. Why is the NBA, more so than any other professional sport, willing to take chances on guys that were great players but have no coaching or front office experience?
Probably because it's the easiest sport to be like a coach on the floor, besides a quarterback. In the NFL, if you're a wide receiver, like how much of your ability and your high football IQ is rubbing off on your fellow players? Probably not a lot. Mm-hmm. But in the NBA and basketball in general, like if you're a floor general or if you're, just a really high IQ player, like that goes a long way. And so if you're able to show that on the court, then why wouldn't you be a great head coach? Like I'm looking at somebody like Chris Paul. I bet Chris Paul's going to be a head coach in the future, and I bet he'll be great.
Yeah, I could see that. He's played a long time.
Yeah.
So congratulations again to J.J. Redick, the brand new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Back into the world of the National Football League. We'll sprinkle some Florida Gator talk in as well. Of course we're going to do that when you have a former Gator All-American tight end. My buddy Ben Troop joins me next, talking Trevor Lawrence, AFC South, Florida, and more. Thursday night edition, Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Wonder what Jeff Prosser would be doing if he wasn't on 1010XL?
I am Robin of Locksley.
And why should the people listen to you?
Because, unlike some other Robin Hoods, I can speak with an English accent.
Jeff Prosser, mornings on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Summer starts now at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet with our summer sale. It's not sink or swim. We have vehicles for every budget and every need, starting as low as $79.99, and you won't get burnt. We offer 20-year 200,000-mile protection on new and 7-year 100,000-mile protection on used. Plus, we can really cool things off with our 30-day exchange policy. Start the summer off the way you deserve it with our summer sale at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Today is June 20th. I started on Awaken 180 on February 20th, 4 months to the day. In those 4 months, I just did a weigh-in this morning. I'm down 72.4 pounds. 72.4 pounds in 4 months, thanks to the best weight loss program I've ever been on. I have so many people asking me, Hacker, how'd you do it? Well, the answer's simple. It's Awaken 180. It's not me. Trust me, I tried other weight loss programs in the past. They did nothing. Awaken 180 has completely and totally changed my life. If it's time for you to drop weight like it was for me, Awaken 180 is your answer. 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or online, awaken180weightloss.com. If I can drop 72 pounds, you can drop weight as well. And you can do it with Awaken 180 weight loss.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I know you've heard this before. Why is it so hot in this house? Well, summer's here on the First Coast, and those soaring temperatures can do a number on your AC. And when they break down, we need them repaired in hours, not days. This is where the good folks at Fenwick Home Services have you covered. Fenwick offers same-day 24/7 service, and if you need a new AC because yours is on its last leg or already broken, Fenwick has next-day installation. That's right, next day, and can keep your family cool and comfortable all year long. Online at FenwickHomeservices.com.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gates store anywhere around Duval and make yours a dandy, and do it today.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 20th, 1993, the Chicago Bulls won their third consecutive NBA Finals, and legendary Michael Jordan won his third straight Finals MVP.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? You have questions? Call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida, and don't let the state decide your fate.
There's certain places you know if you go in, they got what you're looking for, like Gate Convenience Stores and Cold Modelo's. That's the ticket. Or get on the craft side of things with something from Bold City or Sweetwater. Hit the cooler at Gate. Full of choices, and all of them good.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
This is Joe C. from XL Primetime and stoked to crank up the 9 after 5 once again at the Golf Club of Southampton. Every Wednesday, a little after 5, the gang at Southampton will be hosting us with a new game, and I'm inviting you to be a part of it. Now, through the summer stretch, break up the week with a little hump day fun every Wednesday. Call 287-PLAY to get on the tee sheet. There'll be food afterwards and prizes, including playing for a membership at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and hit the tee with Joe C.
This is Hayes Carlion for QC Kinetics. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? This is the best time for being outdoors, but not if your knees, shoulders, back, or hips are hurting. Well, don't suffer any longer. Non-surgical joint pain relief is here at QC Kinetics. You need to call them today for a free consultation. 904-274-5522. They can get you in. They have availabilities, 2 great locations, one in Mandarin, one in Ponte Vedra Beach. Again, 904-274-5522. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. QC Kinetics can make that happen for you, but you need to give them a call for that free consultation and go see them in Mandarin or Ponte Vedra Beach. Call them at 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics.
American Electrical, Northeast Florida's highest-rated electricians, is hiring, and they're looking for people to train for careers. It's not just job training. They're giving you a license that no one can take away from you, training you for jobs that are always in demand and will offer you a peace of mind financially and for the future. Once you know a trade, you'll always be employable. All the details are at American-Electrical.com, and with their American Electrical Academy, if you're selected, you'll learn the electrical trade absolutely free of charge. American Electrical Contractors, powered by professionalism.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Of course, the big story, the end of last week, Trevor Lawrence, 5 years, $275 million, as the Jaguars now have locked up him, along with Josh Allen this offseason. The Jaguars are off now, but they come back for training camp at the end of next month. Let's talk about the Trevor Lawrence contract. Let's talk about the AFC South, and we'll also throw in a Florida Gator question or two, of course, when we have my buddy Ben Troop on, a former All-American tight end at the University of Florida, and Ben is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Ben, how you doing?
Always good to be on with you, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Ben, we always appreciate it, man. All right, state of Georgia. You're obviously very familiar with it. That is where Trevor Lawrence grew up. Trevor Lawrence comes to Jacksonville 3 years in. He gets rewarded with one of the richest contracts in NFL history last week. Your reaction when you saw Trevor sign that extension?
Was not surprised at all. I mean, he was going to be the next highest paid whenever he signed, being the number one overall pick. Everyone knows you draft a guy number one because you want him to eventually be the face of your franchise, and that comes with a huge price tag. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence and the salary cap is definitely benefiting him. But everybody knows salary cap, good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent. It has nothing to do with quarterbacks. They reshape the market, and like I said, when I saw the $200 million guaranteed, that's, to me, that's going to be the starting point for quarterbacks coming behind him. But I was not surprised. Jacksonville had to show faith in their quarterback, regardless of what did or didn't happen at the end of last season. You got your guy locked up, and they had to go along with some off-season moves and bringing back some guys, on offense and defense. I think this team is shaping up to be a really, really good team, because the last thing you want to do going to training camp is your quarterback having to answer contract questions.
Ben, you being an All-American tight end at Florida, you playing in the National Football League, you were a second-round pick of the Tennessee Titans. You obviously know good quarterback play when you see it. What is your opinion of Trevor 3 years into his career?
I think it's a lot of hot and cold. I think you can see why. You got to be excited if you are a Jaguars fan with the type of things. Two things: the type of play he has when he's at the top of his game, and the type of weapons. Because bigger than the quarterback is, you got to believe in him enough to give him what he needs to be successful. And obviously, minus Calvin Ridley, you've done that when you look at the pieces that they went and added in the offseason. But the reason why I do say cold is Trevor Lawrence doesn't have an in between. He's that type of play. He's either really, really good or really, really bad. And I think the thing about him is he has to learn to have balance when he's not playing well. Because Trevor Lawrence, top of his game, I think he's a top 10 quarterback. He has that level of talent because he's poised. He's coming from a winning tradition at Clemson. You see, he's a guy that definitely has command of the offense. I mean, to do what he did a couple of years ago in the playoffs and to not get pulled and to then come back in the second half and to win the game, that shows that, that shows that the Jags, they definitely believe in him. But I think for him, he's gonna have to make sure that he's playing his best football the second half of the season. Because if he does that, this is the AFC South that's very, 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 very young. I mean, and very, very open. I mean, no one saw Houston doing what it did. I mean, we'll see Anthony Richardson's help, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis. We'll see what happens. But this is a division that if he plays solid, you talk about dominating this division for the next 4 or 5 years.
Ben Troop was an All-American tight end at the University of Florida. He's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Ben, in your opinion, why is Trevor such a polarizing figure nationally? When he signed that deal, there were people quickly that were blasting the Jaguars for doing it. There were quite a few people, honestly, that were defending the contract. Why do you think the name Trevor Lawrence gets that reaction from people, either positively or negatively?
Because he has that, I mean, not to compare him to her, but he has like a Caitlin Clark type persona. People either love him or hate him. And the thing is, he's still a big name. No one cares about the Jags unless they got a big name attached to it. He is that big name. And he's good enough naturally to get people to watch. I mean, you want to watch games either because of the quarterback, because of the team, or the coach. Well, in Jacksonville's situation, you got a big name. Trevor Lawrence is a big name. He's been a big name for a long time. People assume because he hasn't lived up to his ability that he don't deserve the contract. But that's why you give him a second contract, because all you got to do when you a number one overall pick is show promise. You don't got to win an MVP. You hope to make a playoff, which he's done. You hope to win a playoff game, which he's done. And you just don't want to tail off. He's the guy, because Trevor Lawrence is the name. If people on the West Coast or the Northeast or the Northwest know who Trevor Lawrence is, that means that he's that polarizing. Most people don't even know the team for the team. The most people don't know the players for the team they root for. Trevor Lawrence is a big name, not just in the National Football League, not just in the AFC South, but getting $275 million proves. People kept saying he's a $300 million quarterback. Now, he ain't get $300 million this time, but he got close to it.
You know, Ben, it's interesting. I got a picture in my phone from training camp last year, less than a year ago, of Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones, and Christian Kirk. And at the time, I'm thinking, all right, boy, what a nice trio for the next couple of years. All of a sudden, Calvin Ridley goes to Nashville. Zay Jones is released. He's now in Arizona. So I took a picture of earlier this offseason. It's now Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, and Brian Thomas. And I know you and I have talked briefly about Brian Thomas in the past, but what do you think now about the supporting cast, the skill position guys that have surrounded Trevor? Is there enough here for him to be successful?
There's more than enough. I mean, because you talk about those three guys, and you ain't even mentioned Evan Ingram coming off a 100-catch season. I just think that for the things that have to mesh when you talk about quarterbacks and receivers and tight ends is you got to know that at any given time I could be the guy. And that because the thing about the Jags is they don't have a number one because they don't need one. Their number one is by committee, and those teams are hard to beat because I think Brian Thompson I think he is going to be out of this world. I think that kid is going to be ridiculously good, and I think that. But Trevor Lawrence is a quarterback that everybody in the NFL, if you play receiver or tight end or running back, you want to play with him because he can literally make every throw. Most quarterbacks look good because of who they have around them. I think Trevor Lawrence looked good no matter who was around him. They just made sure I got guys around him that can make what he does easier. Trevor Lawrence can do it, man. I mean, he got a big arm. His health has never, ever been a question. His decision-making I don't have a problem with the turnovers. I have a problem of when he makes the turnover because you're gonna have turnovers. You're gonna have picks. But yeah, I do think that this Jaguars team is really, really scary because Trevor Lawrence is the guy that, look, he can do it with his legs, he can do it with his arm, but he don't have to do all that because of his pieces. Trevor Lawrence is going to be really, really good in 2024, not because of the contract. I think he's going to put that 2023, miles behind him.
And my thing with Trevor, again, Ben Troop here with us. My thing with Trevor, Ben, you look at the stats, and maybe I'm too much of a stats guy. Back-to-back 4,000-yard passing seasons. He's completing on average 66% of his passes. He's got over a 2-to-1 touchdown-to-interception ratio. Yet you talk to people, and maybe they're just looking too much at box scores and don't actually watch the game, but they're using the term like bust, overrated, that sort of thing. Look, I think Trevor's guilty of that generational title, which I thought was nonsense at the time. I don't even know what generational is. If that's Patrick Mahomes, well, of course Trevor's not that. But Trevor has, in my opinion, been fine the last 2 years, so I don't really understand why people have such a problem with him.
They have a problem with Trevor Lawrence because of where he got drafted and what he represented when he came out of college. I mean, when you look at success in college, you can't be more. Did he win a national championship in college? Yes. Did he win a Heisman in college? No. What they do with Trevor is they only talk about what he doesn't do. They don't want to focus on what he does because if they do, they're gonna realize how ridiculous some of their talking points are. But listen, people only talk about bust when people have the ability to supersede expectations. Most players in the NFL, people don't care because they don't even know who they are. Trevor Lawrence is in the state of Florida, and he is well known, not just in Jacksonville. He can go to any major city and people know who he is. He can go most places in the country and people know who he is. It's a lot. Baker Mayfield, when he was in Jacksonville, he's traveling around the country in a Winnebago, asking for free gas and different things for people to know who he was. Trevor Lawrence is box office. Trevor Lawrence doesn't benefit from not being in a major market city and a major market division in the NFL. AFC South might as well be the NFC South as far as like how people look at them. But once again, he got a shot because most teams. I think he got a shot to be really, really good, Ryan. Because at the end of the day, Trevor Lawrence does things that even people that don't root for him go, what is he doing? Because that play he did last year against my Titans, man, on 4th and goal, that's the kind of stuff that make you go, because that's not the play called. But he wants to make a play really, really bad for this franchise. He wants to win another playoff game, win the AFC South. He can't do it. He can't do it in one game. But I think with the running game, with the defense, and I'm going to keep on saying, I think Josh Allen was robbed. 17.5 sacks, man. I'm happy he got his money. Y'all got some pieces. Not even counting Armstead coming over. Y'all gonna have a shot to beat up on some people. And like I say, Trevor Lawrence got a run game. Trevor Lawrence got a defense. Trevor Lawrence got a culture. Trevor Lawrence got a head coach. Trevor Lawrence got a team. He can go out 4,000 yards is great. He wants to be adding W's in the win column come the postseason.
Final moments with former Gator All-American tight end Ben Troop. Ben, I want to throw a couple Gator questions at you at the end. Final NFL question. You mentioned the AFC South. I agree with you. Last year, coming into the season, so we're talking August, September of 23, people were talking about worst division in football, most boring division in football. Fast forward now, All right, Houston, people love C.J. Stroud, and they were maybe the winners of the offseason. You mentioned Indianapolis gets Anthony Richardson back. Jacksonville spent a ton of money. And your Titans, who you played for in your NFL career, they spent, $1 billion almost on L'Jarius Sneed and Ridley and Tony Pollard on down the line. That division as a whole, Ben, has gone from maybe the most quote-unquote boring to me, maybe one of the more intriguing divisions in less than a calendar year.
Absolutely. I think from Irsay, Mr. Khan, and you talking about Bud Adams, daughter and company, they understand, look, these ways of winning, trying to be penny pinchers, you're not going to win. You're not going to win the games you need to do, and you're not going to keep up. So the thing about it is, 3 of the 4 quarterbacks are still on rookie deals. 3 of the 4 quarterbacks, Will Levis, was in the same. All these guys are young with Trevor Lawrence, getting his deal. It got to make you feel good to know that teams aren't afraid to spend in your division, because that looks good and feels good for everybody. I heard Javon Walker say, man, how good it make me feel to see what Josh Allen got? Of course that motivates me to go out there and do what I've done. So I think the division as a whole understood. Rand Carthon, when he first get there, has no money to spend. You give them some money to spend, boy, they open that wallet up. So will it lead to wins? Who knows? But I think no more division to me is more exciting when you're talking about the quarterback talent. I think Will Levis, we'll see what happens with him. I think Anthony Richardson could be as good as he want to be. Trevor Lawrence got to come off a subpar season as far as like what he's able to do. And C.J. Stroud, rookie of the year, I think this division going to be tough, man. Calvin Ridley said, I can't lose. I get to stay in the division. I'm leaving no state tax to go to no state tax. I get to play my former team twice. Hey, I'm looking forward to all of it. Do I want Jacksonville to do well? Absolutely, man. I think that's a really, really good young squad. I'm not rooting for them two Sundays out the year than them, and I can root for them boys.
Ben, it'll be an interesting division, no doubt about it. As we wrap up, let's talk about your alma mater. Preseason magazines are out, and they do not like the Gators. I think Lindy's and Athlon both had Florida in like the 11 or 12 range out of the 16 SEC teams. And it's interesting because I think on paper, Ben, this might be Billy Napier's best roster, but with that schedule, I'm not sure if the results are going to show that on the field. That schedule is not favorable, as you mentioned that, and that's an understatement. I think Graham Mertz made the biggest splash of the offseason, deciding to come back. Him having a solid quarterback definitely helps every team. Definitely Florida. We'll see what happens with that defense. I think for Billy Napier he has to play really, really well the first month and a half of the season, because that back end, man, it is rough. Ole Miss coming to Florida. I think 7 out of the 12 games is in Gainesville, which definitely helps him. But it's the fact that, you are playing, top to bottom, the hardest schedule starting out with Miami. If he can find a way to be, 4-2, 5-1 out of the first month and a half of the season, it's going to help him momentum moving down the line, because I think that a 7-8 win season with this schedule might as well be undefeated. I do think the days of undefeated season in the SEC is over with the addition of Oklahoma and Texas, but he's going to have to do 2 things. He does a good job with this season. He's going to be back, but I think because he got DJ Lagway coming in the wings, I think he'll definitely be the head coach 2025. And as we say goodbye, it's important for people to know this. A former player such as yourself, a former All-American nonetheless, I remember asking you earlier this offseason, you like Billy. A lot of your former teammates like Billy. I think that matters. When coaches start to lose the alumni, then it's the beginning of the end. But even though the losses have accumulated, you guys are still okay with Billy Napier, correct?
Absolutely, because we understand it is the long haul. I think sometimes as former players, we understand that instant success is more dangerous, right, than trying to get it done over the long haul, because you know how it is, right? If he comes out day one and wins the Natty, or he win the SEC, people expect him to do that year in and year out. Everybody want to celebrate Harbaugh, who just went back, to the National Football League, with the Chargers. It took him a long time to get things going in Michigan. To finally get it going, to win it, people don't. Now, a lot of times people don't want to give people that much time, because everybody got you got these microwave, type success stories. I want to put it in, put them in it, and I want to win it. No, I think for Billy Napier coming over from Louisiana, he's gone through some growing pains. It hasn't been what he wanted, but the two things he has done: one, he's built the culture, and two, he's still got guys getting drafted. Here's the thing. What quarterbacks have gone over any quarterback at Florida in the last couple of years? C.J. Stroud was one of the best players in college, and the other two won the Heisman. Those are the only quarterbacks went over the quarterback at Florida. The other teams can't even say that. So, and then to have one guy drafted in 2023, but he'd be a first-round pick, that's the kind of, because you still got to make sure you got the pipeline to get to the National Football League. You still got to build the culture. But you know, just like I know, Ryan, it don't mean a thing. If you can't win on Saturday, he's going to have to put the wins behind him in 2024.
Ben, tell Gator fans here in Jacksonville about the podcast, 84 Reasons, and what you have coming up on the next episode.
Man, 84 Reasons, just in a podcast talking to future former and current Florida Gators. My next guest is going to be Willie Jackson Jr., the son of Willie Jackson Sr., the brother of Terry Jackson Jr., who won the national championship, and the father of current receiver at Florida, Khalil Jackson. So the Jackson family tradition is the royal family at the University of Florida. We got some big names coming up. My podcast, the Being True podcast, is going to be jumping off here. Probably like the next couple of months, just being able to talk to people, not less about sports and more about life. And we'll see how that goes. But 84 Reasons, man, I'm really been enjoying it. And like I said, Ryan, when you get into this business, you think what direction you're gonna go in. I don't throw a pin at the wall and see what sticks, but I have been enjoying my time.
One of our favorites, Ben Troop, former All-American tight end at the University of Florida. Ben, we always appreciate it. We'll do it again a couple of months out before the season starts. Thank you as always, my friend.
Ryan, man, you one of the best doing it, man. It's always my pleasure to come on. Anytime you need me, I'm there.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Gators. Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Up-to-the-minute updates, instant reaction from Gainesville, plus the same 1010XL Gators podcast you've grown to know. And check out 1010XL Gators on YouTube.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Hi, I'm David Lane, your average everyday Joe. I'm 5 months out of my back surgery with Southeast Orthopedic, and I'm doing great. Thanks to Dr. Herford and his staff at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Let's go! Another night of excitement and fun with your Jacksonville Sharks is here. Join us this Saturday, June 22nd in the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena for some exciting football action as we battle the Massachusetts Pirates. Check out our awesome family packs. You get 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $25 Al's Pizza gift. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. And it's Star Wars night. The first 1,000 fans in attendance will receive a free lightsaber. Are you with the Rebels?
Red 5, I'm going in.
Are the Stormtroopers? Get photos with your favorite characters. Hang out with a game for our autograph session and player jersey auction.
Let's go!
Don't miss the fun and excitement of Sharks football and Star Wars night this Saturday, June 22nd at 7. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700 or visit jacksharks.com.
Let's go.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
International soccer returns this summer. Don't miss your chance to see teams from the biggest league in the world in Jacksonville as they compete for the Stateside Cup. Be there when Premier League clubs Wolves and West Ham take the pitch July 27th at Everbank Stadium, home of the Jaguars. With the series trophy on the line, competition will be fierce. Tickets on sale now for as low as $35 at statesidecup.com.
The Sunshine State says it all in the nickname. That summer sun in Florida can take its toll on an air conditioning unit and send your electric bill through the roof. Florida Home AC can help you handle the heat with a brand new AC unit with low monthly payments and over $3,000 in federal tax credits on select systems. So this summer, don't sweat it out. Cool off with Florida Home AC, the official AC company of the Jaguars. Call them today, 777-4300, and check out their tremendous savings on a brand new AC system.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Prime Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 904-902-8222. 904-902-8222. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 904-902-8222.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hayes Carlyon from MyBookie. Look, we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino canceled because real life came calling. Well, MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. I love the live casino. The roulette is awesome. It's so easy and so much fun. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action is in your hands. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL, and a revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. So sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
With JJ Wasilva, the hacker Ryan Green with you. Hacker After Dark in for Rick Ballou this week. 1010XL 92.5 FM. Thank you to my buddy Ben Troop for joining us here. We get Ben pretty regularly during the football season. Get him periodically during the off season. Appreciate Ben taking time out for us this evening. More in the world of college football comes up at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. Bill Bender, national college football writer for the Sporting News, as we'll take a deep dive into the Miami Hurricanes, the Florida State Seminoles, obviously Florida and Georgia as well, as we are getting there, less than a month away till media days. And Florida State, the first game out of the gate against Georgia Tech, Dublin, Ireland, on Saturday, August the 24th, which by my count is 58 or so days away. I guess it's 8 weeks from Saturday, if memory serves. So we are getting there to the college football season. Some NFL news, some Jaguar news. Obviously, the biggest Jaguar news today was Trevor Lawrence officially signing that extension. He held that press conference earlier. A couple other things. Denzel Mims signs here in Jacksonville, and that kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Now, Denzel Mims was a former second-round pick at wide receiver in 2020 for the New York Jets. I believe he was with Pittsburgh most recently. I think they cut him yesterday. He signs in Jacksonville today. Underachiever, there's no doubt, has not lived up to expectations. He's got, I think, 45 some odd catches in 3 years. But obviously a talented guy being a second-round pick. You know what this almost reminds me of? And I don't know if he's going to have the success that some of these guys did. But remember when the Jaguars brought in, like, Troy Edwards, right? They brought in Troy Williamson, most recently Laquan Treadwell, guys like that. Guys where it didn't work out at their first stop, you hope it works out at the second stop or the third stop. Now, again, Troy Edwards, Troy Williamson, Laquan Treadwell weren't any great, pioneer in Jaguar football lore, but they did some nice things. That's all you're hoping Denzel Mims is going to do. Will he make the roster? I don't know. I mean, he's obviously behind. He did not participate, obviously, in any of the OTAs or minicamp, but it was curious that they brought in a wide receiver because you look at the depth chart right now. I mean, there's 4 guys that are locks in Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas, Devin Duvernay. I mean, those guys are locks to make it. I think Parker Washington is probably a lock to make it. So at that point, that's 5. How many do you keep? I haven't even brought up Tim Jones, Elijah Cooks, the undrafted guy Josh Cephas, another undrafted guy in Brevin Easton that they like, Seth Williams, who was on the practice squad last year. And you go out and you bring in a Denzel Mims. I just found that sort of interesting. We'll see if it means anything. But he's a name, no doubt, former second-round pick. And we'll see if he has anything left in the tank when he arrives here to Jacksonville. I also saw this on ESPN.com. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I figure I would throw it at you. One more thing every NFL team should do prior to training camp. What's one last piece of business every NFL team should do prior to camp? This is according to ESPN.com. For example, in the AFC South, they say the Texans should sign Xavier Howard because they need another corner. I would probably agree with that. They say Indianapolis needs to give a contract extension to their center Ryan Kelly, and they say Tennessee needs to trade wide receiver Treylon Burks. I definitely agree with that. The former first-round pick, Burks, the wideout, is being used as a gunner on special teams coverage in Nashville. That's what happens when you sign DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, and Tyler Boyd, and Burks can be no better than the 4th option at wide receiver. You got to play special teams. That's in large part why Zay Jones is not here. What do they say the Jaguars need to do? The last thing they need to do? Sign a safety, Jaron Kearse, former Dallas Cowboy. I don't know about that. They also list Justin Simmons and Eddie Jackson, 2 veteran safeties on the market. Aren't the Jaguars okay at safety? With Andre Sisco, with Antonio Johnson, Darnell Savage in the mix, obviously backups like Andrew Wingard, Daniel Thomas. I don't know about safety. Corner, I think. If you would say the Jaguars need to sign Stephon Gilmore, Xavier Howard, I'd be more willing to listen to that. I don't think the Jaguars need to sign a safety, though. I would be surprised if they do, although I was surprised earlier today when, again, they brought in Denzel Mims as a wide receiver. More on the Jaguars in the 7 o'clock hour. Also, our NFC North preview continues. We'll go to Chicago tonight. Patrick Finley of the Chicago Sun-Times as we look back on a very eventful Chicago Bears offseason. Coming up next, into the world of college football, Bill Bender, national college football writer for the Sporting News. Let's talk Seminoles, Bulldogs, Hurricanes, Gators, and more. A little college talk on a Thursday night in Jacksonville, Florida. You got it right here, Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Who are these men?
Where's my trusted associates? Am I right?
Joe Cowart.
Am I left?
Matt Hayes and Leon Searcy.
No.
Afternoons 2 to 4 on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Today is the day to drive away in style with a brand new Cadillac Lyric from Rainy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville.
And you can lease a 2024 Cadillac Lyric for just $439 a month for 36 months with $4,889 due at signing.
We have over 60 Lyrics in stock. Choose your color and drive away today.
Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville. Plus tax tag title, $899 admin fee and resist all. No security deposit required. Mileage charge of 25 cents per mile over 30,000 miles.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Bolt City Heating and Air is here to keep you cool this summer. Anytime, any day, whenever you need fast, reliable air conditioning service. Their friendly technicians have fully stocked work vans, so they can get your AC done on site the same day. Rely on a family-owned Jacksonville-grown company this summer to keep your home cooling system working smarter, not harder. Experience the Bolt difference. Visit BoltCityAC.com to schedule your service appointment. BoltCityAC.com.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From roll and lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Baloo for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, you have told us about the importance of cutting a diamond properly and about color and weight. But how do you judge the clarity of a diamond?
Frank, that's a good question that has a very specific answer. Diamonds are graded at 10-power magnification using a binocular microscope. But when you're shopping for diamonds, a lot of times a sales clerk will just hand you a magnifying glass called a jeweler's loupe and have you look into the diamond. While an expert knows how to do this, it's kind of tough on a novice because they don't know how to create the same dark field illumination that a binocular microscope gives. As a result, the customer may or may not be able to see anything. That's why at Underwoods we set the clarity grade of a diamond with a binocular microscope. We have these instruments in every store and invite our customers to examine the diamond underneath them. We can show you the microscopic inclusions that affect the rarity and value of a diamond. So if you're shopping for fine quality diamonds and want the facts, come see us at Underwoods.
That's Underwood Jewelers in San Marco, in Avondale, or the shops of Ponte Vedra.
The Jacksonville Axemen Rugby League are back Saturday against the Southwest Florida Copperheads at UNF. It's the battle of the undefeated South. No pads and no helmets. The Axemen are ready to go. So grab a beer and watch the hardest hitting team in Jacks stay undefeated. Kickoff at 7, tickets start at $10, and kids under 12 are free. Learn everything you need to know at jacksaxemen.com. jacksaxemen.com. The Axemen are proudly sponsored by Ratified Credit Union.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
This is Hayes Carline for SkyLife Elite. Are you tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, and layovers? Call my friends at SkyLife Elite. Consider using private charter flights for your next adventure. Yes, you can afford it. Make your own schedule. Fly direct. Drive your car to Craig Airport and get directly on the plane. SkyLife Elite can make that happen. Call 490-9332, go to flyskylife.com, and find them on social media. Fly SkyLife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
1010XL Weekly is out now. Mia here, and text the word weekly to subscribe to our new 1010XL newsletter and for a chance to win Jaguars and concert tickets. Get an inside look at local sports, trending players, station info, and chances to win prizes all year long.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. You know, we've spent so much time as of late with Jaguar OTAs and mini camp and everything that's gone on the pro side. You look at the calendar, and all of a sudden, we're a month away from media days, right? We're 2.5 months away from the college football season kicking off, and Florida State is the first game right out of the gate over there in Dublin, Ireland against Georgia Tech on August the 24th. So we're going to spend a lot of time this week on the college game, and with that, one of our favorite college guys to talk to is Bill Bender of the Sporting News. He does a great job covering the world of college football, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Bill, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, Bill, we always appreciate it. Season's kind of sneaking up on us a little bit, and I was looking at the calendar. I'm like, man, media day is right around the corner. I know a lot's been focused on the schedules and the TV times, Bill, that have come out. You did something recently talking about some of those SEC schedules because clearly Florida and their schedule has been at the forefront of a lot of minds in these parts.
Yeah, and, you know, I know you guys have talked about it. It is one of the toughest schedules, statistical theory, of all time, I think. I mean, when you play that many ranked opponents, you look at their November gauntlet, and that's not even including Miami, who might be ranked. I took a spin around all the preseason publications and kind of got a composite top 25 out of it. And I mean, there's no doubt. I looked at every SEC and Big Ten schedule because it's, as you know, it's easy to say, oh, well, they have a tough schedule. Well, we put a number on it. And out of all those Big Ten and SEC teams, the Florida Gators by far had the toughest schedule with Oklahoma, their new SEC partner, coming in second.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up because you and I talked a few months back, and since I've had you on, I've had numerous other guys on, and basically the vibe I've gotten is, yes, it is a tough schedule. But a couple of people that I've had on have said, well, it's a good logo schedule, meaning, yeah, that Miami logo looks nice, that A&M logo looks nice, but how good are those teams? And I guess I buy into that a little bit. I think the first 7 games you could buy into that, but whether you want to call it a logo schedule or whatever you want to call it, Georgia onward for Florida is absolutely brutal. What about Miami, A&M, Kentucky, Tennessee? Are they going to be as good as they traditionally are, in your opinion?
I mean, it's still well, let me answer that question this way. And I'm sure your listeners might feel this way. That first game from a perception standpoint is more important than the rest of them for Florida and Miami. I mean, for Florida, I don't know how long it took us to get past the perception of the first game against Utah last year. That's why I say it. So if they lose to Miami and then you've got to face the rest of this schedule, it could create some negative feelings. Then Miami, I mean, they're for the second straight year getting a little bit of hype this preseason. We didn't rank them in our preseason top 25, but a lot of other people did. And they had a high variation, and I don't know how much of that is because of Cam Ward, because another year with Mario, but the winner of that game is going to get a lot of hype, and the loser is going to. But I think that's one of the games in Week 1 where the loser is going to feel it more, if that makes sense.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Bill, you piqued my interest. We'll get more into Florida in a moment. From the Miami side of things, we know how important that game is for Napier. And if he loses that game, that's a problem. From the Cristobal side of it, he hasn't gotten near the heat publicly from that fan base that maybe Napier's gotten in Gainesville. But if Miami goes to the Swamp and they lose on the 31st of August, at that point, will Cristobal start feeling the pressure?
Well, if the Utah loss lingers with Florida, then the Georgia Tech loss. I'm surprised to hear you say that, honestly, because I thought after that Georgia Tech loss, Mario took a lot of criticism, and it really didn't stop the rest of the season. So, you bring in Cam Ward, a really big year for him, arguably the best in the transfer portal. And he had no running game at Washington State the last 2 years, and he can make plays. So it's a huge year for him perception-wise. And I can't remember a time when, I know Van Dyke was solid and Miami's had some good quarterbacks, but I don't know that they've had a starter with this kind of talent in a while. So I think that's the reason for the excitement and the fact that they're playing in the ACC instead of the 16-team SEC. So they win that game. I think – put it to you this way. If Miami wins, more of an overreaction if they win. Loser, Florida, more of an overreaction if they lose. That would be the dual-sided overreaction for both sides that would create more, at least from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, I agree with that. Back to Florida, I look at their roster, Bill, and again, all we can go on is paper right now, but it looks like a decent roster. In fact, this might be Billy's best roster top to bottom. He did very well in the transfer portal. They got a lot of guys coming back. They've seemed to replace the guys they lost with. It's hard to replace Pearsall and Etienne, but they did pretty good in the portal at wide receiver. They got a lot of nice running backs. But as good as the roster is, the schedule may not indicate the improvement on the field. And I wonder, how you correlate a better overall team to a much more difficult schedule.
I that's the question. That's a great question that I can't quantify because I never do. I always tell people, coach might not get fired off the actual win total. Some of it is the games themselves. So let's say Florida's 6-5 and they qualify for a bowl game, and then Florida State beats them 58-0. This is all hypothetical. I don't want anybody slamming on their steering wheels, but that's what I mean by the score, right? Like, then you're wondering, okay, how much more of this can we take? But I against that schedule, I would give him the benefit of the doubt against it. I'm not saying they can go like 2-10, but anywhere between 5 and 7 wins to me would be acceptable for Florida. I know their fans aren't going to like hearing that, but to me that would be showing some progress, especially if you can get to a bowl game.
Yeah, Vegas has the over-under, I think, at 4.5 right now. It actually went down from 5.5, so that kind of caught me off guard. To Florida State, Bill, I mean, last year, the incredible run, the absolute robbery, in my opinion, for them not to get in to the college football playoff, and now here we are coming into 2024, Mike Norvell, a brand-new contract, but they got to replace a lot, man. I mean, you look on these NFL rosters during these mini camps, and there are Seminole rookies all over the place. I think Norvell's done a good job in trying to replace that amount of talent, but there's no doubt to me that they got to take a step back a little bit because of the amount of guys they lost.
Right, and that's the big question. I kind of throw the bowl game out of the window. I don't care about that result. They had so many guys sit out, fall out from the bowl, etc. Nobody wants to relive that in Tallahassee anyway. Looking forward, it's a big year for DJ Uiagalelei. Can't turn the ball over. He's such a puzzling eval for me because the numbers aren't bad. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. He's obviously got the physical tools. He's going to be working with a pretty good group of skill position guys at Florida State. Team Williams could have a huge year, I think. Consistency throwing the football down the field will be the big thing. I mean, I'm looking forward to that Clemson-Florida State game just like everybody else. But he will have to be a little more consistent. And that's what you had with Jordan Travis. You had somebody that was very consistent, didn't turn the ball over, and just continually made plays. That's how Mike Norvell's made this thing work.
couple of more for Bill Bender of the Sporting News, talking college football with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Bill, the Atlantic Coast Conference, do you believe this is Florida State's final year in the ACC?
I hope not. I just hope not. I don't want to see another conference die. I think it would just be horrible for the overall health of the sport. I understand their concerns. I understand where they sit when you see how much money the SEC and the Big Ten are going to generate, the fallout from last year in the playoff. But part of me is like, man, the Pac-12 is not here. And I can tell you from up this way, I don't know how many Big Ten fans that have been a part of the conference for as long as I've been around the Big Ten are like super excited about USC, UCLA, and Washington and Oregon. I get this is where the game's going. I'm going to say they'll still be in the ACC for the foreseeable future. But that legal battle, I'm curious to see how it goes from here.
Are they the favorites in the ACC? You mentioned them and Clemson. They appear to be the two, and could there be a third team that could emerge?
Well, Miami and NC State are the ones to watch. NC State, they're a popular pick this time of year. I remember a couple years ago, I was sitting with a couple writers, and one was telling me NC State was going to go to the playoff, and I'm like, in what sport? Now, this year they did all right, in every other sport but football. But, yeah, I think they can compete with Grayson McCall at quarterback. I like Miami sleeper value, but if I had to pick two teams, that Clemson-Florida State game is going to be huge. They could see each other again. Big year for Dabo. Taking a lot of heat about the transfer portal, but they still have plenty of talent down there. A big year for his quarterback, Cade Klubnik, as well.
The transfer portal thing for Dabo, it's bizarre at this point, right? There's one thing to be, I guess, stubborn would be a nice word to use, but it's bizarre that they're not doing what every other team in America is doing right now.
They're going to have to evolve at some point. I thought the Duke game showed why last year. That opener on Labor Day and Mike Elko and his ability to bring talent into Duke, and, they were the better team in that game. But, Dabo has his ways. He still has a very strong team. I don't shortchange the success he's created there. But a lot of that was based on quarterback play, receivers, the defensive talent he was able to bring in. I just think the transfer portal doesn't need to be your main home run swing, but you need to use it to supplement what you have on campus. There's no question.
Bill, preseason magazines love the Georgia Bulldogs. Las Vegas loves the Georgia Bulldogs. Does Bill Bender love the Georgia Bulldogs?
I do, but there's an understanding here that their schedule's tough. They have a logo schedule too, but those logos are Texas and Alabama and Clemson and Tennessee. They play a lot of good teams this year, and I think they should. Excuse me. They should be pretty good, but I think Carson Beck is back. Kirby's built a winner there. They've become very tough to beat at home. So yeah, I like Georgia. I think. You want to tell me? One of the things looking at those composite top 25s, Georgia was number one in all 8. Ohio State was not number one in any of them, which surprised me a little bit because I consider those two 1A, 1B.
And it's interesting, too, when you look at the dogs, because you mentioned Texas and Oklahoma. Obviously, they're coming in to the Southeastern Conference. Everybody seems to love Texas number 2 right behind Georgia because the uncertainty with Alabama without Nick Saban, LSU's got to replace a ton. Ole Miss, people love them, but for some reason they have Texas above. Is that the way you see it? Georgia, Texas, and then work your way down from there?
I think that clump of Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss is a legit first 4, at least heading into the year. Texas, who knew? 3 years ago we wouldn't have said that, but Sark has done a good job building that roster. You got the best quarterback room in the country, I think, with Ewers and Manning and the depth they have there. They're going to have to prove it in the trenches in the SEC every week, and that'll be a big question. And there's no doubt that their schedule is also tough. Of those 4 teams, Ole Miss has the easiest schedule. They do play Georgia, but they play them at home. And then they miss some of these ranked opponents I was talking about. So that's one to watch. Big year for Lane, winning the Peach Bowl last year. They only lost to Alabama and Georgia. People love to hate Lane, as you know. But there's a good opportunity for them to make the playoff this year.
Final moments, Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Bill, as we begin to wrap up, you're a Big Ten guy up in Big Ten country. even though you cover the game certainly on a national basis, but because of where you are and your ties to that conference, you're the guy to ask. You mentioned Ohio State. Michigan's the national champion, right? But no one's talking about them because the coach is gone and the quarterback's gone and they lost a ton. How do you think the Big Ten shakes out with the arrival of Southern Cal, as you mentioned?
Well, Ohio State and Oregon will be the favorites. I mean, Michigan will be in there too. There's still plenty of talent back. They did lose. I mean, it reminds me of LSU in 19, or 20, I'm sorry, where you lose that much talent. 2019, they lost that much talent that went to the NFL. You're going to have a dip. I don't think it'll be as severe as what LSU experienced, but I do think Michigan will hang. Ohio State's a lot of pressure on them to end a 3-game losing streak to Michigan. They brought in everybody, right? Will Howard, Caleb Downs, Quinshaw Judkins via the portal. Chip Kelly is the new OC. Ton of pressure in Columbus, but they've got the roster. So, if I'm picking the national championship game here in the middle of June, knowing how many things can change, I mean, it would be hard for me not to pick Georgia versus Ohio State at the end of the road.
And you would love to see a Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Oregon conference championship Saturday. Boy, wouldn't that be interesting with where we are in college football. And, Bill, that brings me to my final question. You're one of the guys nationally. You've been doing this for years. I mean, is this the biggest, most anticipated season of college football we've ever had, with all the conference realignment and the 12-team playoff and the fact that it's going to be 5 months, beginning August 24th. The champion's not even crowned until January 20th. This is the biggest season of college football we've ever had, correct?
I've been using the phrase, I can't wait to see how it works. The extra games, the 12-team playoff, the new huge conferences, but at its core, you and I grew up watching this sport. We love to argue about who's number one. We love the regular season. We love those rivalries and the pageantry. At least I'm speaking for you. I assume you do. So that's what I'm excited to see. All these changes within the sport and how they impact and go against the traditions of the sport. You're seeing game times be moved. Georgia Tech was moved to, I think, Black Friday now, and others. So I can't wait to see it, though. I always tell people, though, I enjoy this little bit of summer because I know how much work goes into September through January. So I'm still going to catch a little bit of sun here for a month before we get to those media days.
Yeah, there's absolutely no question about that. Bill, what's coming up on the sporting news in the coming days and weeks as we head into media days?
Well, we'll have bull picks next week, bull projections, playoff projections, all that stuff. Those schedule pieces we talked about are both on the website now. I think your listeners would find those interesting. And, sporting news, we don't have a magazine, but we put up more than enough content to fill one here over the next month or so.
Bill Bender is one of our guys here on 1010XL, does a great job with the sporting news. Bill, thank you as always. We'll talk again soon.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
There you go, Bill Bender of the Sporting News here with us on Hacker After Dark. He made some interesting points, and one of the things, too, Bill lives in the state of Ohio, so he's obviously in Big Ten country. Isn't it interesting that the Michigan Wolverines are the defending national champion, and yet no one's talking about them? I'm willing to bet that most people couldn't name their new head coach nor their new quarterback. I mean, they lost so much with Harbaugh.
Me.
Yeah, right. That's what my point. I mean, Harbaugh being gone and J.J. McCarthy being gone. And people talk about Southern Cal coming into the Big Ten. That's a big deal. But really, it's Oregon. I mean, Oregon is the team. Now, Oregon's got to replace Bo Nix, but I think they've done a good job of that, obviously, in the transfer portal, bringing in a ton of talent. So Oregon coming into the Big Ten for their first year is projected to be in the championship game of the Big Ten with Ohio State. And that's the thing for college football fans. You need to do a little homework coming into the year to figure out where all these teams are. Southern Cal, Oregon, Washington, and UCLA are now in the Big Ten. Obviously, we know Texas and Oklahoma are in the SEC. The ACC adds those juggernauts of Stanford, Cal, and SMU. JJ, I know you were telling me you're very fired up about Miami traveling out to Berkeley to take on the Cal Golden Bears. Nothing says Atlantic Coast Conference football, the pageantry of ACC football, like Miami at Cal this year.
Yeah, nothing says the Atlantic like the Pacific.
Absolutely incredible. And then in the Big 12, it's just kind of a free-for-all, right? It's like all the Pac-12 leftovers. Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, Colorado, they all come into the Big 12 with UCF and with West Virginia. I mean, it's going to take some time to get used to this. Of course, the 12-team playoff as well. Quickly, JJ, I've had a lot of college football guys on this week. I want to ask you, being the Hurricane fan that you are, I know you're going to the Florida-Miami game on the 31st. Are you happy 2 years in with Mario? I know a lot of Gator fans are not happy with Billy.
I wouldn't say happy.
Yeah.
I'm content. The on the field has really pissed me off. A couple of losses last year, obviously Georgia Tech.
Oh, yeah.
But the recruiting has been great, and like the ability to go get somebody like Cam Ward has all been spectacular. So not happy, but also not like how most Gator fans feel about Billy Napier. I'm still somewhere in the middle.
If Mario loses to Florida, does that thought change a little bit?
Certainly changed a little bit. It obviously depends on the game, but I expect them to lose, honestly. Just week one going into a place like the Swamp, like if it was in October and we lost that game, I'd probably be more upset about it. Week one's going to be tough, man.
Yeah, that's what's interesting about both the Miami game and the Texas A&M game. And I mentioned this this week on the Gator Bites podcast that we do. You can check that out, 1010XL.com, Florida Gator, 1010XL Facebook page, 1010XL Gators on YouTube as well. I mentioned the Miami and A&M game. What I don't understand is this. Can Florida lose those games? Well, of course, they can lose those games, absolutely. But they're both at home. And to me, the bigger one from a perception standpoint is Miami. But that A&M game, it's year 3 for Billy Napier. It's going to be game 3 for Mike Elko at A&M. Year 1, game 3. If they come into Florida in Elko's 3rd game, playing Billy Napier in his 3rd year, and the game being in Gainesville, and A&M wins that game, that's a problem. That is a problem. Everybody talks about the schedule being brutal, and the latter part is. But you should absolutely split Miami and A&M. You could argue you should go 2-0, and if you go 0-2, it's a flipping disaster for Florida. An absolute disaster. More on that back into the NFL as well. Our NFC North preview continues coming up in less than 20 minutes. Patrick Finley of the Chicago Sun-Times previewing the Bears. We're with you till 8 o'clock. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Florida State. Subscribe to 1010XL Seminoles YouTube channel, up-to-the-minute updates, analysis, and more. Plant the spear and subscribe to 1010XL Seminoles channel today.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Summer starts now at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet with our summer sale. It's not sink or swim. We have vehicles for every budget and every need, starting as low as $79.99, and you won't get burnt. We offer 20-year 200,000-mile protection on new and 7-year 100,000-mile protection on used. Plus, we can really cool things off with our 30-day exchange policy. Start the summer off the way you deserve it with our summer sale at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
Let's go! Another night of excitement and fun with your Jacksonville Sharks is here. Join us this Saturday, June 22nd in the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena for some exciting football action as we battle the Massachusetts Pirates. Check out our awesome family packs. You get 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $25 Al's Pizza gift. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. And it's Star Wars night. The first 1,000 fans in attendance will receive a free lightsaber. Are you with the Rebels?
Red 5, I'm going in.
Are the Stormtroopers? Get photos with your favorite characters. Hang out with a game for our autograph session and player jersey auction.
Let's go!
Don't miss the fun and excitement of Sharks football and Star Wars night this Saturday, June 22nd at 7. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700 or visit jacksharks.com.
Let's go! International soccer returns this summer. Don't miss Premier League clubs, Wolves and West Ham in Jacksonville for the Stateside Cup, July 27th at Everbank Stadium. Tickets as low as $35 at statesidecup.com.
Save money while beautifying your home with Renewal by Andersen with energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Their exclusive Fibrex product is chic, tough, easy to maintain, and twice as strong as vinyl. Right now, buy one window or patio door and get one 40% off. Plus, no money down, no payments, and no interest for 1 year. But restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 20th, 1993, the Chicago Bulls won their third consecutive NBA Finals, and legendary Michael Jordan won his third straight Finals MVP.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mokama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect pilsners and lagers, matching memories and some Mokama magic is what it's all about. Mokama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mokama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
What's changed totally inside and out? The Kuhn Flowers massive storefront, and yes, they've totally remodeled the showroom inside too. This is Frank Frangie, and the next time you drive by, stop and smell the roses at Kuhn Flowers.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384.
Life has its share of challenges, and when it puts you to the test, make sure you reach out to Rebound Rehabilitation to give you the quickest path back to full health and confidence. Rebound Rehab, specializing in helping patients overcome back pain and sciatica, arthritis, and fibromyalgia, just to name a few. Rebound Rehab, locations covering the entire First Coast, getting you back in control with a pain-free life. Sports injury, workplace injury, whatever it might be, you can rebound. Log on to reboundrehab.com for more info.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Our NFC North preview continues in less than 10 minutes this week. We've already made stops in Green Bay and Minneapolis. Tomorrow night, we will go to Detroit. That means tonight, it's all about the Chicago Bears. Boy, Caleb Williams, the number one pick, Rome Odunze. But think about everybody they added, from Keenan Allen to DeAndre Swift on down the line. They obviously paid Montez Sweat a bunch of money. We're going to get up close and personal with Chicago, as they're going to be the Hard Knocks team, right, that starts in about 6 weeks there on HBO. In fact, Hard Knocks is doing that off-season Hard Knocks that starts, I believe, in 2 weeks with the New York Giants. So that'll be pretty interesting. But our NFC North preview continues tonight in Chicago. Patrick Finley of the Chicago Sun-Times. That does come up in less than 10 minutes. A couple of Jaguar tidbits in case you missed it. Trevor Lawrence officially signing that contract extension earlier today. Denzel Mims, a former second-round wide receiver in 2020, has not done very well in the NFL. Let's be honest, has underachieved for various reasons. was most recently released by Pittsburgh earlier this week. He signs with Jacksonville today. Again, what does that mean for that wide receiver room? Well, it may not mean anything because, again, I think you got a log jam there. If you take into account Devin Duvernay, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis, that's 4 spots that are already taken up. I believe Parker Washington is going to be number 5. And then it's a matter of, do you keep 6, do you keep 7? You add Denzel Mims, who's the most name recognition guy that's going to be competing, with Elijah Cooks, with Tim Jones, with Joshua Cephas, with Seth Williams. So we'll see. That was kind of my thought last week when we went over the roster position by position, is competition, man. The Jaguars are going to be cutting guys that you know their name. The Jaguars are going to be cutting guys that have played regular season football here in Jacksonville. There's going to be a ton of competition for roster spots 40 through 53, which will make training camp a heck of a lot of fun. Keep in mind, rookies report July 19th, the veterans report July the 23rd, so it is right around the corner. Let's head to the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois. Patrick Finley is our guy up in Chicago. He is with the Sun-Times. Let's talk Caleb Williams. Let's talk Chicago Bears and where they fit in the NFC North. Remember, the Jaguars see Chicago and London later in the year. Patrick Finley of the Sun-Times talking Bears next on Hacker After Dark.
First Coast living.
Always.
Jags loving.
Let's go, Jag!
This is the Duval Life.
We're Duval till we die, baby.
1010 XL.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Calling all disc golf enthusiasts. Play It Again Sports Jacksonville wants your used discs. Now through June 29th, earn cash on the spot plus $5 in sports bucks for every $25 of disc golf gear we buy. Play It Again Sports also stocks new discs from your favorite brands like Innova, Discraft, Discmania, and more. Stop in today and shop our huge selection. Merrill Road near 295 in the Merrill Station Shopping Plaza or online at playitagainjacks.com.
If you're heading to the Og or you're already part of the nation's oldest, don't forget to drop into Sunset Grill. For over 30 years, serving up great chowder, seafood, wings, and cold beer. Sunset Grill, somewhere on A1A, St. Augustine Beach.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
He's a professor of quarterback play, and class is in session.
We want to take you into the lab so you can learn more about the science of quarterback.
Denny Thompson, Friday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet on 1010 XL.
Prosser here. As you may or may not know by now, I did the research and decided to go with Jack's Concrete Coatings for my garage floor. OMG, as the kids would say. I can't begin to tell you how good it looks, how happy we are. We brag on it anytime someone walks in the garage. They had the job finished in 1 day with a lifetime warranty. That's right. As the certified Pintec dealer for North Florida, the only company offering pure polyurea, I can't wait to do my patio deck next. Call 862-2000. That's the number, 862-2000, or jacksconcretecoatings.com.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zerorez and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zerorez,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zerorez.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Prime Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 904-902-8222. 904-902-8222. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 904-902-8222.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their REME Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. This week, it's all about the NFC North as we work our way through the month of June. We will make stops in Detroit. We will make stops in Green Bay, in Minnesota. Tonight, it's all about the Chicago Bears, and what a year it was, what an offseason it was in Chicago. Brand new quarterback, a bunch of new playmakers there on the offense, and a lot of people have a lot of high thoughts about Chicago heading into the year. With that, our guy up in Chicago is Patrick Finley of the Chicago Sun-Times. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Patrick, how you doing?
Not too bad. How about you?
Patrick, we're good, man. Thank you for the time. And all right, Justin Fields' era over, the Caleb Williams era about to begin. Before we talk about the future, let's talk about the past. Simple question. Why did it not work out for Justin Fields there in Chicago?
He was never consistent enough in a passing game. I mean, we all saw what he could do with his feet. He was, maybe the second most dynamic running quarterback in the NFL, maybe a top 5 running quarterback in the history of the NFL. But, when it's 3rd and 6 and you got to complete a pass, he just wasn't the guy there. There are lots of reasons we can get into about it, but it was clear it wasn't working, and he certainly wasn't going to get a big extension from the Bears. They had a golden opportunity fall into their lap with that Panthers trade, had the number 1 pick, and it was a pretty easy decision for them to make.
So Justin Fields out, Caleb Williams in. You've seen him at OTAs and minicamp. Your thoughts on how he's looked to this point?
He looks pretty good. I'm the first to say that OTAs and minicamp don't mean a whole heck of a lot in terms of physical evaluation, but I'll tell you this, the confidence that he has, the comfort he has in his own skin, and the relationships that he's building with the guys on the team, I think bode really well for his future with the Bears. Playing quarterback in this city is really hard, and I could argue to you that in more than 100 years, nobody has done it at an elite level ever. That's a lot of responsibility to carry, but I think he's got the personality to be able to handle it. This is a guy who's been a celebrity for a long time already. This is a guy who had his own bobblehead at Dodger Stadium 2 years ago. The bright lights are not anything new to him, and I think he's got the personality to be able to withstand all of the arrows and all of the praise and everything in between that he's going to get as the Bears quarterback.
Patrick Fenley of the Chicago Sun-Times, as our NFC North preview continues this week here on 1010XL. Tonight it's all about the Chicago Bears. And Patrick, you alluded to that, the expectation for Caleb Williams. I mean, that's a lot to put on a guy that's never taken a snap in the National Football League. You mentioned the limelight and the glamour and everything that comes with that. That Chicago market is no joke. I mean, do you feel he'll be okay if things struggle out of the gate with the criticism he'll receive?
Yeah, I think he'll be pretty well suited to deal with it. Like I said, you win a Heisman Trophy in Los Angeles. You go to dinner with Denzel Washington for fun. These are all things he did as a college student. I mean, in addition to making millions of dollars, he's kind of the first, well-paid above the table college player we've seen. So, all of these things aren't as foreign to him, I don't think, as they were to college quarterbacks even 5 or 10 years ago. I mean, Justin Fields came from Ohio State, where he was the starting quarterback for 2 years. So, he wasn't he was used to the spotlight as well. But I think this is a whole different level. I think he'll be able to handle it. Again, the city of Chicago hasn't seen a great quarterback, ever, and hasn't seen a really good quarterback in 70 years. So the people here want nothing more than to fall in love with Caleb Williams. If he struggles out of the gate, I think they'll give him a little bit of rope. The question then becomes, what about Matt Eberflus? If this team isn't as good as people have hoped, where do the Bears go next? Do they stick with a head coach who, halfway through last season, I think was at the top of everybody's list in terms of most likely to get fired?
There's no doubt, Patrick, they've surrounded Caleb Williams with a lot of talent. DJ Moore was already there. They go out and make a trade for Keenan Allen. Roma Duze also out of the draft. You bring in some running backs as well in free agency. He's going to be given every opportunity with the talent they assembled. How would you assess those skill positions there in Chicago?
It's a great position to be in. If you're Mitch Trubisky, you are looking back at the guys you had surrounding you and comparing it to this roster and sitting there going, oh man, I was born in the wrong year. This is a really good situation for the Bears. I mean, DeAndre Swift, who was a Pro Bowl running back last year, didn't even make your list here. I mean, he's the 4th or 5th most interesting offensive piece they've brought in. Gerald Everett, who was a very, very productive tight end with the Rams the last couple of years, is coming in to be the Bears' number 2. Even Mercedes Lewis, who at the very least is well known for being old and still playing football, is their 3rd tight end. I mean, the Bears have legitimate skill and legitimate kind of famous players on offense, and that doesn't happen around here very often. It's a really good position for Caleb to be in. I don't want to be the sports writer that sits there and says, well, none of it's going to matter unless you can block, but none of it's going to matter unless you can block. So the Bears offensive line needs to be able to be consistent in a way that they weren't last year, because if you can get that run game going and then all Caleb's got to do is play point guard in the pass game, boy, that's a pretty good situation.
A couple more for Patrick Fenley of the Chicago Sun-Times. Keenan Allen, obviously he's not the Keenan Allen he was probably 5 years ago, still very good. You combine him with DJ Moore, you combine him with Roma Duze, you mentioned Gerald Everett. I mean, who's going to be wide receiver 1 in that offense? Is it DJ Moore and then trickling down from there?
Yeah, the guys are joking that they're going to race each other to 1,000 yards, which if you know anything about the history of the thrown football in Chicago, that's a pretty funny thing. The Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer ever in their franchise. They are the only franchise in the NFL who can say that. So, boy, that would be something new around here. I think DJ Moore is still number 1. Keenan Allen, he might be coming off of his best season, which is really saying something. But, you're always worried about his health. You're always worried about his ability to play more than 12, 13, 14 games. And then you have a Dunze who, in any other market, would be the talk of the city because of the excitement that he can bring here and the fact that he's a top 10 pick. But, in Chicago, when you've got Caleb Williams, Rome is just kind of the other guy they took in the first round. That's not fair to him, but I think he's in a great position where he can watch these 2 Pro Bowl receivers do what they do, learn from them. And then, Keenan's on a 1-year deal. I don't know whether he's going to be a long-term guy here, but if Rome could step into that role 2 years from now, I think that'd be a really good launching pad for him.
You mentioned the offensive line, Patrick. Let's get there. Again, not the glamorous position, but it all starts up there. We learned that here in Jacksonville. You can have all the talent in the world in 2023. If your O-line doesn't block and your quarterback gets killed, the season's going to get derailed. What is the thought about the O-line coming into the year?
The Bears needed a center, and what they did was they traded for a guy named Ryan Bates, who was playing for the Bills and who played like 20 snaps last year. So their solution for their starting center was to go get a backup from the Bills, who I think had their own offensive line problems, if I remember correctly. So that'll be a question mark there. The Bears actually signed Bates a couple years ago to a restricted offer, only for the Bills to match it. So they've liked him for a long time. You know, they're keeping Braxton Jones at left tackle. There was some thought that, you know, if Joe Alt or somebody had slid to number 9, that the Bears would be interested there. They really did like Alt, though probably not as much as Odunze. So, you know, you're looking at Braxton Jones, who is not a great pedigree guy. He's small college, you know, late round pick, but he's held his own the last 2 years. You know, and then you've got Darnell Wright, who was the Bears' first round pick last year, had a great season at right tackle. And, you know, there was some thought maybe they'd move him over to left, but they decided to keep him where he was really good last year. He's probably their best offensive lineman. But again, you know, none of these guys are household names right now, and they kind of need to be a better unit than they are individuals, because individually I think they're, you know, middle of the pack at best in the NFL.
Eberflus is a defensive guy, no question about it. Let's talk about that Chicago defense. How are they stacking up heading into 2024?
Boy, in the second half of the year last year, they were one of the better defenses in the NFL. You know, they were top 5 in a lot of different categories, and they think that that's what they could be this year too. That coincided with them trading for Montez Sweat and giving him a giant contract. All Sweat did was lead the Bears in sacks, while also leading the Commanders in sacks. The first guy in the history of the NFL to ever lead 2 teams in sacks in one season. Bears didn't add a ton of help this offseason. You know, on defense, they re-signed Jalen Johnson, who was probably their best player last year, gave him a big contract. They went and found Kevin Byard, the safety from the Titans, and last year for a little bit from the Eagles. They really like the attitude that he brings. They really like his physicality, which is something that Eddie Jackson didn't have back there. And they really like, you know, the way that he can lead this defense. I still think they're probably one pass rusher short. I don't know whether that's a street free agent, somebody like Yannick Ngakoue, who's still available, who played for the Bears last year, or whether the Bears are looking for a surprise cut during training camp. But, you know, on 3rd and 8, you know, they can really use one other guy to throw on that line to go get after the quarterback. Kind of like with the offensive line, there was, a thought before the draft that if a defensive tackle was available that they liked, that they would pounce, and it just kind of didn't shake out that way. And you really need a good one in Matt Eberflus' system. So, you know, Zach Pickens and Gervon Dexter trying to hold that position down right now. They're second-year players. The Bears think they'll make a big leap, but we shall see.
Final moments, Patrick Finley of the Chicago Sun-Times. Patrick, when you have a rookie quarterback, you had 2 top 10 picks, including your own pick, number 9. Maybe not a lot of expectations coming into the year, but when I talk about Chicago with people around the league, there's a lot of expectations. I mean, Hard Knocks is going to add to that, obviously. Hard Knocks is going to be up there, and we know what that's going to entail for that organization. But is there pressure on Eberflus and them to win here in 2024?
Yeah, there's pressure on them to win for sure. Maybe not Ryan Poles, the GM who kind of assembled this. I think he's done a really good job the last couple of years, and he's probably pretty bulletproof at this point. But, you know, Matt Eberflus needs to do better than they did last year. They were 7-10 last season, and it was just, especially the first half of the season, just a really disorientingly bad football team. They got better, and if this is who they are, you know, a team with a top 10 defense in the second half of the season, if not top 5, and an offense that can score, boy, you might have something there. If you don't, then you have to start asking questions. The Bears bucked the trend of the NFL when they went out and got Eberflus a couple years ago. They hired a defensive-minded coach. That just doesn't happen anymore. And then he fired his offensive coordinator after 2 years and brought in Shane Waldron now to oversee this Caleb Williams project. If it doesn't work, or if it goes terribly, the Bears are going to have to ask a lot of questions about whether they'd rather go get an offensive-minded head coach to do the job. Boy, that would be an attractive job if it were to open up. But I think their preference is to stick with Eberflus. They really like him as a leader. But boy, you need to see that production on the field, and year 3 is the time to do it when you're a head coach.
Patrick, final question, man. The NFC North, it's quietly one of the better, if not the best division in the NFC, and one of the best divisions in the NFL. When you look at Detroit, a lot of high expectations for Green Bay, and then we'll see. J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota, Caleb Williams in Chicago, 2 rookie quarterbacks. What's your thought on where the Bears stand in that division heading into the year?
I think they're probably the 3rd best team in the league right now, ahead of the Vikings, and that's just because you've got that rookie quarterback situation going. I mean, I think there's a world where the Bears can do something like go 9-8 and still finish 3rd, which is saying something. Maybe 10-7 and still finish 3rd. I think the division is that good. We'll see how the quarterbacks play out. Jordan Love was everything anybody could have hoped for and more last year. If he keeps going like that, boy, it seems to me like, the Packers are the team I would worry about long term. I've seen enough of the Lions in my lifetime to kind of believe it once I see it. They got close last year, but again, the Packers are the team that scares me organizationally because of the fact they have, I think, the best quarterback in the division right now, and just because of what they've been able to do to the Bears over the years. They're the one that I would watch out.
Again, the Jaguars will see Chicago over in London there in the month of October. Patrick, we know there's a lot of Chicago folks here in Northeast Florida. For people that want to follow your coverage of the Bears, what's the best way to do that?
You can check me out on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Patrick Finley, one word. You can check out the Chicago Sun-Times website at suntimes.com. And we've got a podcast called Hallis Intrigue. If you're interested, you can find that wherever you get your podcasts. And London will, maybe I'll see you in London. That'll be a fun game. An awful long way to go just to play the Jaguars.
Yeah, no question about it. Patrick, we'll certainly talk to you around the time that game comes up. Thank you as always, my friend. We'll do it again soon.
Sounds good.
Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
And thank you to my buddy Patrick Finley of the Chicago Sun-Times for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark as our NFC North preview continues. We've now made stops in Green Bay, in Minnesota, tonight in Chicago, and we will end tomorrow night in Detroit as our march through the NFL divisions continues, leading up to the Jaguars opening up training camp now in less than a month. The Jaguar rookies report on July the 19th. Boy, it was an interesting show this evening. Obviously, we talked a lot of college football. We talked a lot of NFL, the Florida Gator, and the Florida State Seminole college baseball seasons. Unfortunately, both came to an end yesterday as well, but great seasons for both Link Jarrett and his club in Tallahassee, and certainly a great postseason run for Kevin O'Sullivan and his club in Gainesville. And look, the NBA just ended, but good grief, the NBA draft is less than a week away. 1 week from tonight, as a matter of fact, I believe, is the NBA draft. That is hard to believe, but that's where we are as the calendar continues to roll on by here in the month of June. Well, that'll just about do it. It has been a very busy Thursday night edition of Hacker After Dark here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Patrick Finley of the Chicago Sun-Times. Interesting year for Chicago, and we're going to get to follow along, right? Hard Knocks on HBO will be there in August when training camp kicks off. Obviously, all eyes on Caleb Williams. They got a ton of talent on offense with DJ Moore and Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen, and they added all these guys, DeAndre Swift, right? All these guys that are now in Chicago. We'll see if they can stop anybody on defense, but there is a lot of intrigue about the Chicago Bears, certainly revolving around the number 1 pick in the draft, Caleb Williams. So we appreciate Patrick Finley of the Chicago Sun-Times for spending time with us this evening. Thank you to Ben Troop, former Gator All-American tight end at the University of Florida, also was a second-round draft pick of the Tennessee Titans. Always enjoy talking with Ben. We talked a little Billy Napier and Florida, but Ben wanted to talk Trevor Lawrence, man. Ben from Georgia, Trevor from Georgia. Ben had a lot of thoughts in a positive way about that Trevor contract. So always appreciate talking either college ball or NFL ball with my buddy Ben Troop, again, who was an All-American tight end at the University of Florida. And back in hour number 1, Bill Bender of the Sporting News, certainly one of our guys here on Hacker After Dark, as we talked Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Miami, and more with Bill Bender of the Sporting News. We will be back tomorrow night on a Friday to close out the week here on Hacker After Dark, again in for Blue, beginning at 6 o'clock, and we do hope that you join us then. JJ LaSelva was your producer tonight. JJ, great job as always, pal. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Thursday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Thursday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night to close out the week on a Friday, beginning at 6 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.